And hello, welcome to the live stream. It's 5 o'clock, and thank you very much again to all the new subscribers. There's been a few in the last couple of days, and the latest video seems to have gone down quite well with East Croydon to Watford Junction. And thanks for everybody that's watched that, all the new subscribers, all the existing subscribers of course as well. And here's today's lineup. So got a bit of a London commuting theme mainly. So Welwyn Garden City to Moorgate, our first run in the 717. Then it's Willesden Junction to Clapham Junction in the 378. Then we've got a couple of runs on the Bakerloo Line. We'll start off from London Road Depot and take a run to Queen's Park. And then we'll switch over to another unit and go through to Harrow Wealdstone. And then, excuse me, last of all, an East Coast Mainline freight working. We're going to do for Echo 26. That's on the East Coast Mainline on Trains and World 5. Let's get underway with Train Sim Classic to begin with. Good evening, Christopher. Good evening, N8 Scooby. Good evening, Amaze Taze. And welcome as ever. All right, excellent, Christopher. You've had a look at Trains of World 5. I bet that looked pretty good. Ha 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 ha. Yeah, brilliant. Yeah, I should look forward to that, Amaze Taze. And that's always good to know. And yeah, I think actually on the OB studio, yeah, for some reason it's I don't know why it's not even showing any chat on there. I thought we hadn't got anybody in. So yeah, good to see you all in as usual, all the regulars, and really appreciated your ongoing support as ever. And we'll start off then with that run from where we're going from, Welwyn Garden City to Moorgate. Yeah, well, it looked as though it was a pretty good performance though, and he lost 3-2. And there was a late goal, wasn't there, that kind of made it perhaps closer than it really was, I'm guessing. But yeah, it was a strange old day with Stoke actually winning for a change. And I think as we speak, things are going very well for Tottenham as well, aren't they? I did watch a few minutes of that before the stream started, so keep an eye on that one. Imagine that'd be a decent game, actually. Yeah, I think you always thought that it was going to be a tough match against Bolton. It always seems strange to see Bolton in the lower leagues. You always think of them back in the day when the stadium was all built and it was the Premier League. There's always something, isn't there, with computers? You just think you've got everything perfect, and then you get a problem, don't you? It's ever so strange sometimes. I've just remembered actually for the Bakerloo Line runs to put in the that tunnel mod. Haven't tested it out, so I hope it works out okay. Ah, right. I'd forgotten he was the manager, actually. I remember him at Wickham, and I know he built a great reputation, and Again, sometimes you just get a manager that's a perfect fit, really. He seems to be one of those. But hopefully, I mean, I know it's a bit touch and go at the bottom half of the table, or the bottom places of the table, but hopefully they'll be all right. Yeah, no idea what's up with me chat today on OBS Studio, but it doesn't matter because it is working on the YouTube one anyway. So let's get the train set up.
TSW5 and AWS operational.
Driver, you have reset the DRA. Please check the signal.
It's because in the Bakerloo Line on Train Sim World, you have these like tiled effect. You might have spotted it in the intro. There's these like kind of tiles, but it's not like that in real life. So somebody worked on kind of filling those blocks, and they put in some sort of texture upgrade on it. So try and make it a bit more realistic. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, absolutely right. And now, one or two people commented when I did the run over Christmas, Moorgate to Hertford North. Of course, we don't have an accurate 717 cab, because obviously, as you can see, there is a block in real life in the middle, which is the emergency escape door. But that was just because Armstrong Powerhouse have put it in. I just thought I'd better shut my doors first, hadn't I? Did I actually? I did, didn't I? Yeah, there we go. So Hatfield is the first stop. Yeah, well, that's kind of what reminded me, actually, to do this service. I was thinking it's ages since I've done a run from Welwyn, and I've never done it on the stream, so I thought, right, here we go. Oh, excellent. Oh, I love how we cross over the flyover for this first bit. Before we then assume the up slow line. Yeah, was it busy on Tuesday? I was thinking about this when I kind of named the theme. Oh, there's a nice livery one as well going through. Was that? I get mixed up which is which, actually. That wasn't the Lumo, was it? That was something else. Yeah, definitely, yeah. And I was looking through the list. I was trying to make sure it's one kind of in the daytime, and you know, some of them were like over 2 hours. So I kind of come up with the one that was, I think it's about 45 minutes all told. Whole trains, yeah, that's the one. I couldn't think what they were. I thought it's not the Grand Central, it's not the Lumo. Yeah, it's the whole train service. Yes, indeed. Yeah, yeah, that's true. Yeah, I think we have got the liveries for them in the game. I don't know whether we'll see any on this run this afternoon. Yeah, it's absolutely lovely when you're travelling on a train. I think in the day, particularly in the week when it's really quiet. I mean, I'd love to see Armstrong Powerhouse doing, or anybody really doing a proper cab for this unit for the 717, but on the other hand, you actually get a much better view with this more unrestricted view. Ah, excellent news. Yeah, fantastic. Ah, marvellous. Yeah, I love driving the 37, both on Tradesim World and Tradesim Classic. Don't think I've actually... Yeah, I did a 37 the other week, didn't I, with that ROG thing on the Southeastern, but... Yeah, definitely agree with that, 100%. I think, yeah, you get the site's pretty much dedicated to all sorts of trains. Yeah, I think aesthetically it always looks better without the yellow warning panel, and I think with the lighting on modern trains, I don't think for safety reasons it matters quite so much as it used to do. Thought I'd better check that. Have I put my lights on? Yes, I have. But yeah, and certainly in the 70s it wasn't allowed. And I mean, some of the green diesels when they were first brought out in brand new, they didn't have any yellow warning panel at the front at all. And then it became compulsory, and then you kind of got reskins or reliveried trains that were done specials that were outshopped in the 80s, and they had to put the yellow panel in at the front. It just didn't feel quite so right somehow. So that was Hatfield, incidentally. Yeah, you've still... Are those ROG ones still in use? Good evening, Slowline Trade Spotting. Welcome again to the stream. And I think ROG's Rail Operations Group, isn't it? I know they certainly were until recently. Yeah, there are. I'm sure I've seen 37s, and sometimes you see them in, I think, was it a 37 that I saw hauling one of the Merseyrail trains the other week? It was kind of a sad service, really, because it was taking them off to the scrapyard in Newport. There we are, being overtaken by an Azuma. And of course they've been modified a bit, haven't they? Because they have those that Delna coupling, don't they, at the front? Yes, yes, indeed. Yeah, yeah. It doesn't quite trip off the tongue the same, does it? And I mean, at least it's easy to remember, I suppose. Rail Operations Group. Yeah, absolutely. The thing is, they were made to last, weren't they? These trains that were built in the 50s. Testing the brakes on this thing a bit. There's another 717 going the other way. Now that's a good question. I don't know. I'd have to. I couldn't even say exactly when. I presume the 37s were kind of in the first generation of diesels, weren't they? From the mid 50s. Of course, nicknamed the tractors, aren't they? The 37s. I suppose you can't count the 57s, which are still used on the Night Riviera, because they're basically 47s, but of course substantially modified. Yeah, they had that project, didn't they? There's some sort of commission in the mid 50s, and it produced all the early diesels. Hi Connor, welcome again to the stream. Glad to see you. Certainly must keep an eye out. The one thing you do notice when you're doing this all stations run is that the stations are coming up very, very thick and fast. I think it's a shame that you don't see them on in Scotland anymore, on the old like things like the West Highland line. Yeah, yeah, absolutely agree. Yeah, I remember sort of, I don't know how old I'd been, about 10 I suppose, and my mum was building me a model railway layout, which was fantastic, and she always wanted me to have a 37. I can't remember whether I did actually. I think I did in the end, but she absolutely loved the shape of the 37. She wanted me to have a Class 52 as well, a Western that she'd seen in the model railway shop, and I couldn't relate to that because they weren't kind of from our neck of the woods. Yeah, we've had that problem before with Connor's messages, haven't we? I don't know why. It shows up for me. I mean, he's just basically said hi and then good evening to everybody. Yeah, I'm fine, thank you. Hope you're fine. We can do the 380 actually, Glasgow to Ayr with Trade Sim. Trade Sim Classic, there is that route. Ha 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 ha. I like it. So Potter's Bar is next. Yes, indeed. Yeah, it certainly is. Trying to flip between reading the messages and also, well, there's a lovely 91. Potter's Bar. I like it. I mean, this is a very old route now, this East Coast Mainline. From King's Cross to Peterborough. It was one of the first things they brought out, but there's some great custom models, though, that are done for this route. Like it. I did indeed. Yes, yes. It was kind of a bit of a soap opera going on, wasn't it? During the week, and I kind of guessed with the entries that the developer had said in the forums. I sort of thought, I'm sure Alan Thompson's going to have to reply to that. He can't really ignore it. It was an interesting insight into game developing, I suppose, apart from anything else. And it's a harsh old world, though, because you could spend absolutely months and months and hours of your time and get absolutely nothing, and you kind of get the impression you just got a bit frustrated at the time it was taking, really. Hello, Noah Parry. Yes, indeed. Yeah, we've got a couple of runs on Trade Sim Classic. So we've got this, and then we're doing a London Overground 378, and then we're into Train Sim World 5. So the idea is it's roughly half and half. I've seen some of the Roblox streams. I've never downloaded it or played it. Yeah, I think that's the thing, isn't it? Well, at least we know now why Manchester Commuter's been delayed. Still hope we will be getting our hands on it eventually a bit later on during the year. Yeah, thanks Christopher. Yeah, I always forget to say, don't I? But yeah, thank you very much to all the new subscribers. But yeah, anybody new watching, if you want to like and subscribe, then I'd be tremendously appreciated. Oh, I know. You're absolutely right. And I mean, you get the impression that discussions have been fraught. That's kind of what I mean. It really was like was like a soap opera. And I was I must admit, I got quite interested. I was checking back every so often to see if there was a bit of a follow-up to it. Clearly, some developers are easier to work for than others. Oh, thank you very much, Amaze. Very kind. So I was starting to think earlier on, you know, what's left to come out this year, really, and I think fairly soon. I think probably the Overground one is going to come out next for TSW5 with the Moorgate line, and then hopefully the Welsh Valley one. You can kind of imagine spring. Yes, yeah. I mean, and again, it's, you know, you don't always know all the ins and outs of these things, but I suppose if you're actually working and you're not getting paid anything, even if that was the basis of the agreement originally, and you're kind of conscious that they've got money coming in the bank from the subscribers, now they'll probably counter that and say, yeah, but we've got a lot of money to spend out across the board to various people doing this, that and the other. Yes, indeed. Yeah. It did amuse me a little bit, the comment, because I know that I've heard him say on a couple of these streams and this, that and the other about them putting the money where the mouth was, and somebody kind of replied and said, or not, as the case may be in this case. Yeah, absolutely, and it's I mean, I'm guessing this thing about, you know, you kind of earn commission once it's out. I guess that's probably fairly standard way of doing things. But they were quite clever to come up with the concept of the subscribing, and I think probably they were a bit blown away originally about how many people actually did subscribe, and it's kind of meant that they have been able to develop things. And then I think they made a bit of a mistake, and I think they've admitted this themselves about, you know, they made tons of announcements. This is coming out, we're doing this, we're doing that, we're doing the other, and then you seem to hear nothing for absolute ages. Oh yes, of course. Yeah, I forgot. You're are you still in Lincoln? I bet you've got a nice little camp stove going, or well, I suppose you've got nice heating in the van as well. Yeah, it's a good point. It's surprising in a way that they've not thought about branching out to Train Sim World 5. I mean, I know that we've got some of the sounds in Train Sim World 5 that are Armstrong powerhouses, but I think the whole principle is that it's basically they've just supplied the sounds, they've done nothing else, they've not done no mixing. they've left that to DTG or whoever's developing the route. Ah, marvellous. Yeah, yeah, fantastic. Just glad that the weather seems to be set to be getting milder towards the end of the week or middle of the week. It's just been so cold constantly. Yeah, have you managed to see any trains whilst you've been around? No, I think we're definitely not going to get another EMU. I mean, there's some people speculating that the reason for the delay was because of the fact they were actually changed their mind. They were going to build it to Crewe. Well, I think there's zero chance of that, and I think there's zero chance of there being another EMU, unfortunately. Absolutely, yeah. Oh, that sounds good. Yeah, and I think you do get, at Lincoln itself, you've got that. Say there's the station and that famous level crossing where it was kind of so busy. They had to build a footbridge over because I think the barriers would be lowering and people would be rushing to cross the tracks, so it got a bit dangerous. So they put a footbridge up. Yeah, I don't know why. I'm not a great fan of. I'm not too bothered about brown sauce either these days. I prefer without. But yeah, I don't know why. I've never really fancied. I don't really like tomato sauce. Absolutely, yeah, yeah, yeah. That'd go down nice. I like a flat white myself. Oh yes, yes, well remembered. I think I'm just really hoping that Manchester Commuter does come out before Trains in World 6 and perhaps in the summer sometime. But no, I don't think there'll be any more units with it. I think we're going to get the 323 and then you can layer in the Pendolino and the freight stuff and the 158, I think. Haha, excellent. Yeah. Right, New Southgate. I think the idea is we're kind of on this service. It's where are we, about 8:30 we're coming towards it in the evening, so it's supposed to be like summer's evening, I think. Yes, indeed. Not overly, not too many passengers in there. Alexandra Palace next, which of course we recently had the darts there, didn't we? The World Darts Championship and the snooker with the Masters as well. Absolutely. Yeah, I hope so. Yeah, it's always good conversation, good company. And just checking as well. Wow, 52 minutes gone, still 1-0 to Tottenham. Yeah, that's a good point. I think, if I remember rightly, I think Zachary was on at the very start. I don't know if it was last week, but he's not been on the chat very much recently. We haven't heard from Duncan for a while as well. Was Duncan, wasn't it? Our resident Scott. Yes, they did put up and the few minutes I watched it on Sky, they put up some graphic about, I think they were bottom of the table for, or top of the table for teams in front in the Premier League conceding goals. Yeah, well, we had a draw actually last week, but I may say he's absolutely annihilated me on the first run. I just narrowly won the second one. Yeah, it would be good, and I did say last week, and I'm sure it's perfectly doable. But we could do a separate run somewhere, and if we could get the video over to me, I could do some editing with Adobe Premiere, and we could get the split screen in, and you could see the side-by-side run then, and I think I've worked it out. I kind of just need to do a commentary on the whole thing once it was done, but it's certainly doable. Yeah, miraculously. I still can't understand that Overground run where I did the Watford Junction to London Euston, managed to completely mess up the brakes because I forgot about the ramps coming into the platform, so it completely brought me train to a halt. I had to reset it, and then about 2 minutes later I moved down the platform enough to bring it to a halt, and then apparently I'd still won. I don't think that was right. Yeah, definitely. I think the biggest problem's going to be just finding a way of just uploading the video, really, and then kind of other than that, deciding what run we're going to do, you know, something like kind of preferably 40-45 minute duration, then it'd be perfectly doable, and be easy enough to get that edited. Oh, I don't know about that. You've seen examples of my dodgy driving over the course of the last 5 months. I mean, the thing is, you start off with all these aspirations about, you know, trying to drive it accurately and keep within the speed limits and stuff, and then it goes off course very quickly. Yeah, I think so. I mean, that's what Dan does for me thumbnails. It's just the main issue really is just the file size really, and but yeah, I would have thought that would be the best way. I mean, it'd be slightly dodgy trying to get off there as well, wouldn't it? Yeah, absolutely right. I must keep my eye from the cab because I know Haringey's not too far away. I mean, the thing as well is, you know, it'd be easy enough to sync the two videos together in terms of the recording, but you kind of have to trust me that I've not watched the video and that I've just done it completely afresh. You should do, shouldn't you? I mean, luckily this is Train Sim Classic, so we haven't got to worry too much. Sometimes it's a bit of a dark art though, the scoring on Train Sim World 5. Yeah, it kind of gives you, I mean, on Train Sim World, it gives you a bit of a breakdown at the end of it, and you can kind of see a little bit. I'll try and remember to show you at the end of one of the runs. Yes, I did, and I think I've actually have got them. I couldn't remember whether I bought them or not, but I'm pretty sure I've got them. Yes, indeed. I think it'd be known as in the business as tea and biscuits with the manager. And the thing as well, I mean, some of these stations, the platform's pretty short. I mean, you get to somewhere like here with Finsbury Park, and it's really, really long. Yeah, absolutely. I must try a bit more variety. I mean, this freight run we're going to do later on. I think it's with the, I think it's a steel working, if I remember rightly. Although I think it's empty. Yes, absolutely right. I mean, I know that there are some places where the platforms are too short for the whole train. I mean, it wasn't the case there, but the guard would actually lock part of the train up so that or he didn't, all the doors weren't open. Yeah, should be all right at Finsbury Park. We're fine. And at Drake Park, we've got to change over power, actually, over to DC. Which kind of reminds me, I forgot to write down the instructions on that, so I hope that goes well. Might have to consult the manual otherwise. See Arsenal's football ground up ahead. Yeah, you absolutely can. Yeah. You can indeed. I mean, I think if it happened in real life, you would you probably need permission or something. There's a interesting video from a chap who uses a wheelchair on YouTube, and he kind of points out some of the injustices. And there was a situation, I think it was at King's Cross, where because the train was in the wrong position, he couldn't board the train, and they were kind of telling him he got to get on the next train, and he said, "No, I'm not doing it. You move the train, reverse it." And there was a lot of argument about it. They were threatening to call the police and all sorts, and then they agreed to in the end. Right, so we'll open the doors. So I think we have to go into neutral first, and then hopefully get this right. So we need to switch the power off, and then we go into DC. I'm hoping this left one will now light up. Yeah, that is looking good. Well, hopefully that we might be all right now with that. Oh yeah, I need to go back into forward as well, don't we? Ooh, that's a relief. We're moving. It does look dark, doesn't it? I think it's just the reflection. I think we're okay, yeah. When I did the live video yesterday, we had the Merseyrail route builder on, and he's trying to create the Merseyrail network, which of course has got underground stations around around Liverpool, kind of a little triangle of them, Moorfields and James Street and so on, Liverpool Central. Well, Connor's on the right service anyway now. He's heading to Moorgate as well. Watching one of those Jago Hazard videos about Highbury and Islington. He's a brilliant YouTuber as well. You know, each video's only less than 10 minutes, but massively informative and great style with it too. Yeah, well, this is exactly this service, Connor. So Essex Road is next. Can't recall it being this dark. I was kind of thinking that maybe the Merseyrail chap could probably potentially, you know, I suppose he'd need permission for it, but if he could retexture some of these stations, then it would be absolutely perfect, I think, for the Merseyrail. That's right. Well, here we are at Essex Road. I mean, I remember when this route first came out from Dovetail Games, I was something slightly weird going on with those textures on this. I'm not quite sure what, but I was slightly disappointed that we only had King's Cross to Peterborough. It seemed a shame that they hadn't got this section in, and then this was created by, I think it's that chap that called, what did he call himself? Something like Guten Bahnhof, isn't it? So Old Street is indeed next, and then Moorgate our final stop. Oh, it's always nervy, isn't it, when you're winning 1-0. Well, actually, Moorgate, Connor. We'll well, actually, Old Street first. We better stop at Old Street. Just 30 mile an hour through the tunnels. And as you can see, Moorgate's not very far away from Old Street, which is coming up shortly. Ha 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 ha! Yeah, sometimes a different direction to what we're going as well. Not always the same line either. I shut my doors. But yeah, I think it's great that we've got this Moorgate branch on now. It's just adds something to the game. Just kind of shows you probably couldn't do nighttime streams all the time though, because it'd be like this all the time. I know if you do say West Coast Mainline south at night, out of Euston's quite good now that they've improved the lighting. Or if you're kind of going through the heart of the countryside, it's not quite so good. That's right, so Moorgate is our final stop. We got that little 10 mile an hour. Never failed to come into Moorgate without thinking about that very, very nasty crash in the early 1970s. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I read a bit about it, and there's a few theories. I mean, it was fairly inconclusive, but I mean, essentially came through at speed and crashed into the tunnel wall at the back. It was horrendous crash, and you know, I think the book I was reading suggested it was some sort of temporary paralysis as a possibility. But I've read another argument, and I was kind of more convinced by this, because basically they said round about the time they used to do runs where they weren't stopping at all the stations. So I think it's not inconceivable that he literally came flying through the tunnel and just momentarily forgot that this was actually the end point. I think he got confused and he thought it was another station, because he didn't make any attempt to put the brakes on at all. So oh, yeah, horrible story. Well, enjoyed that. That was interesting run on the Great Northern. So what have we got next? So, oh yes, Overground to Willesden to Clapham Junction. But yeah, that seemed quite plausible. I mean, I think I'm right in saying that's where the tripcocks came in. So the idea being that I think the train would essentially automatically stop itself now in that situation. Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, I enjoyed that. Yeah. So, yeah, next, back on the Overground again. And I did a couple of runs when the Armstrong Powerhouse 378 pack came out, but I can't remember whether... I don't think I ever did a Clapham Junction service. So we are doing... This is another one that was available with the pack when it came out. He says, desperately trying to find me... my notes. Yeah, 2 Yankee 31. Come on, try typing it in. There we are. So it's only a shortish run, this. But I think we actually start off on the wrong platform, and then we've got to reverse the train back. And of course, we then got to change from AC to DC. So all sorts of things that could go wrong on this run. And of course, hopefully whets the appetite a little bit for the incredible trains in World 5 as well, with Willesden Junction to Stratford. So I'm kind of hoping that's going to be early on in the March roadmap with an announcement about its release date. But maybe I'm being a bit over optimistic on that. I don't know. Pure guesswork. I mean, it looks fairly ready when you see that picture of Stratford with the Boris buses and the London taxis and all the reskins and stuff. Yeah, I think it's going to be great. Yeah, absolutely. Indeed, South Coast simulation. Yeah, I've got great hopes for him. I think, I mean, I know he's done it all himself, but yeah, I agree completely. It has looked, it does look indeed incredible. That'll be a day one purchase, that's for sure, and hopefully we'll get it on the stream pretty quickly. I mean, that was my fear about it. I thought, well, I was looking forward to it, and I thought, but Stratford's going to be dead quiet. But they've kind of proved that it just won't be quiet. I think the only thing that missing really are going to be the intercity ones, you know, primarily I suppose the Norwich Liverpool Street services, but everything else is there. I think a great idea to reskin the Aventura into Elizabeth Line colours and the Greater Anglia colours. I mean, it remains to be seen what the sounds are really like. I mean, it could be more or less that they use the 377 sounds, but I mean, I'm not sufficiently knowledgeable to know the difference. Right, we have got approval. And again, I think, I mean, I'm as guilty as anybody of thinking, well, that's great, but what comes after that? And I'd love to find that he's kind of put the lines in to Richmond without any scenery or something, and you know, the idea being that it will get extended at some point. Absolutely right, yeah. There's some very, very good sound modders, isn't there, for Train Sim World. That Itcher chap has done some brilliant sound mods. I mean, you know, you think with the Bakerloo Line train that we'll be driving a bit later on, I mean, as it came out, I suppose the sounds were bearable. I was quite happy driving it, but once we had the proper sounds uploaded, it's a whole different ball game. Right, that should do us, I think. Let's switch cabs. I think going in neutral should do it, shouldn't it? I don't think we need to bother about switching power off massively. Yeah, we'll remember about changing the shoes. Oh, I love that. An 86 coming passes on a Freightliner. Oh, I thought that wasn't going to go off for a minute. That worried me. Probably should have concentrated on putting the tail lights on actually on the back, shouldn't I? But yeah, I mean, it was the same with the Pendolino, wasn't it? I mean, I was kind of okay with the sounds that came out with the game originally with TSW5, but again, the sounds that he's added in are pretty damn good. I'm always a bit suspicious with Train Sim World when it says it's approved, because you can kind of see there we've got a train coming past us in beautiful kind of Silverlink livery. Yeah, there you go, you see. So that approved was complete nonsense. And I have to say, I've driven this 378 a great deal more since this Armstrong Powerhouse pack came out. I mean, there was a fairly decent sound mod available. That German chap made it pretty decent. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, you got to love a 313. And again, thinking about it, we've still got the 313 available on Train Sim World as well. So I bet there's a Silverlink mod for it. So it'd be good to do a full run. I was looking at trying to do a 313 run on Train Sim World 5 from London Euston in free roam mode, but it didn't look the easiest thing in the world to path, because even if you put it into the right platform at Euston, it didn't seem to recognise the path to the first stop. Yeah, I do love a 313. So we've obviously, well, it should be even longer if I press the pause menu. We've obviously got a bit of a wait here, so we're due off at 14:08, so we've got 3 minutes. But I think some people were hoping that this mild May line would be to Stratford and to Clapham Junction. I must admit, I was kind of hoping it would be to Richmond, because I quite enjoy that. You start to get a real country feel as you head out beyond Willesden Junction, but I suppose to put Clapham Junction in would have been an absolute nightmare. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've tried it. I did try messing around with it, but it was only briefly one night. But you certainly couldn't set it as Watford Junction as your ultimate destination. But it seemed to be struggling to. What's the first stop? Is it? I'm trying to think what the trying to think the first stop is. It Southampton. Right, I see. Yeah, yeah, because you can actually do that, can't you? You can actually set your. It's just a shame in a way. It's a bit daft how they do it because it's a shame you can't set your final destination and your route, your markers along the way as you're doing it originally in free roam mode. But you kind of have to do it on the fly, don't you? And you have to put. So yeah, you put that first and then do it. I must try that though sometime because I think that would be quite a fun. Run to have a go in to try and do the old 313, and I bet there's a Silverlink livery knocking about on Creators Club, so I'm sure that'd make quite a nice video. Well, with that, and of course I presume you're talking about my video from yesterday. I mean, I did that in use both Train Sim World 5 and Train Sim Classic, but you can actually, if you've got the London Brighton route and you've got West Coast Mainline South, and you've got from the Steam Workshop, there's a route from Danny. It's called something like North South West Thameslink 2012, I think. You can do the whole thing on Train Sim Classic if you like, and I just literally mixed all the parts up. So in reality, there's a 10-minute gap in between loading one game up and then the other, but I was kind of able to get things edited so that it looked like a one fairly seamless run. With the slight point about the fact that it was mainly an 8-car ride, and then it became 4-car for the last duration. I forgot to check that the West Coast Main Line South whether there was any 8-car services, and it's the same going the other way as well. I've kept the weather in as per the for this run. Hello driver, this is a reminder to ensure you switch to DC power mode at North Pole Junction in a couple of minutes. Look out for the third rail, and as soon as your train is fully on it, you may carry out this voltage change on the move at a maximum speed of 20 miles an hour. I think that's incredible that you can do it on the go. But it's kind of good that we've got more bits of the railway network available now, so you can do these full runs. It'd be good if we could kind of have a great big joined up route where you could do everything in one go. So we're still on just catenary at the moment. And we're going downhill as well. I'm still keeping to the 20 because we've kind of got to do this change soon. Right, now I can see. Now I can see third rail. Right, so we should be all right to do it now. Right, so we need shoes up. No, we're not. Oh no, I'm doing this wrong. Sorry, pan down. D-seat select and shoes down. So we should be all right. We'll know anyway if the pantograph, if we come to the end of the overhead line and find that we can't move. Right, no, actually, the extension, I think it was done by a chap called something like Guten Bahnhof, but it doesn't matter. The site you need is backdatedtrainsim.com. I mean, it's a fabulous website anyway. There's all sorts of stuff on there, but one of the things that's on there is the extension to Moorgate, and it just adds it on. As long as you've got the original King's Cross to Peterborough add-on from Steam, then you could install it and run it to your heart's content. I think that the activity itself was from Trainsim Community website, that 2000 hours service from Welwyn Garden City. And hello to, sorry, I didn't quite catch the end bit of the name, but hello to Vibe. Okay, thanks for watching. And I'll just say it again at this stage, anybody new that's watching, if you want to like and subscribe, if you haven't done so before, I would be tremendously grateful. Trying to remember what phrase it was that Jago Hazard said in his video. I think he said, if you would like to consider subscribing, I would be grateful. And I think that's kind of what I'm getting at. Yeah, Vibe Fix. Yeah, hello, welcome by the way, thank you. But yeah, have a look at Backdated Train Sim. And there's some good stuff on there as well, because if you've got West Coast Mainline South, you can download a route which connects up Watford Junction to St Albans Abbey, for example, and puts in, if you've got the North London line, you can have that backdated North London line as well. Won't be too far away. It's only a fairly shortish run, Noah. I think it's less than half an hour, so we'll be on to the Bakerloo Line shortly. Yeah, my pleasure. Yeah. Have a look. It's a great website in its own right. There's all sorts of stuff on there. Don't seem to be moving very fast, do we? I'm sure of. We did the power changeover all right. Oh, excellent. What's your local station then? Is that Kensington Olympia? Sure, we're all on. We're okay, aren't we? Choose down. Feel as though we're riding. Oh, excellent! Yeah, I missed out on checking. Actually, brilliant. That's made things a lot better. Let's just double check. So we've definitely got the pantograph down. Ah, I thought it was. Yeah, I thought I'm just. Do you know, I did this absolutely fine yesterday. There we are. It didn't light up, did it? There we are. I can hear the motors now. That's better. Right. Oh, we got a freight coming through as well on the 92. Here's Kensington Olympia. Yeah, if you want, incidentally, if you want the full Hertford loop, and you do Hertford loop to Moorgate, then I think that's where you do need the Alan Thompson route. I mean, it's not by him, but there's somebody who's created the Hertford loop as a extension as well. So West Brompton is next. The thing is, you'd obviously have Welwyn Garden City as long as you've got the original DTG King's Cross to Peterborough route. So it's just literally just a bolt onto the original route. It'll keep the, I think it even keeps the same route, the same name. Again, it's just one of those things that would have been lovely if Dovetail Games had built it originally, but there's some such talented people who can create these things. And the good thing as well is, you know, I mean, yes, I'd love the Trainsim World 5 route to go through to Clapham Junction or to Richmond, and we kind of got to remember it's one man who's created it, which, you know, seems to be an often repeated thought, but at least you can carry on the journey and do it with Trainsim Classic. There's that forklift truck sound. I could have sworn I'd downloaded that mod that removes it, but perhaps it only removes it on certain routes. Again, it doesn't quite pass the quality control, does it? You kind of think, what were Dovetail Games thinking about when they sort of said, oh, I tell you what, let's have a forklift truck sound rolling about like that in the background. Of course, I mentioned this on the video yesterday, but there's Stamford Bridge. I think it's literally sandwiched in between West Brompton and Imperial Wharf. I think if you're getting on the Overground, I guess it's Hobson's choice really which station you get off. Hello, Leo's Trades. Yeah, welcome aboard. Welcome aboard the service. This Overground service will be going over to Trainsim World 5 shortly. But yeah, welcome to the channel. And if you're liking the video and you'd like to consider liking and subscribing, I would be tremendously grateful. I'm not going to make any comments about that stuff. What's your interest in trades then? Do you like to play Trainsim World 5, or do you play Trainsim World 5, or do you play Trainsim Classic, or are you just interested in trains generally? Yeah, sometimes a bumpy ride when I'm driving, but I'll try my best. I was amusing myself playing that Matt Pedalston song, that Trainsim Live thing earlier on, so that made me laugh. That was brilliant. Right, okay, yeah. Excellent. Yeah, well, thanks very much for watching anyway, and hopefully you'll enjoy the journeys. And we're not too far away from Clapham Junction. Yeah, we're taking an entirely different section into Clapham Junction from this side of the station than we took at the journey going the other way. That was taking that other junction, wasn't it? This is a kind of a more direct route into the station. Hi, Noah. Yeah, you'll be pleased to know TSW5 is not too far away. Oh, I missed the AWS there. I was showing the outside view. I like it with TSW5 that you can actually hear the alarms from outside the cab. But it can catch you out on Train Sim Classic. Ah, right, okay. You, what you driving? Right. Ah, excellent. Ah, right, okay. Leo. I certainly hope you enjoy the stream. You know, 455 just leaving the station. Trying to get me bearings. That's going away from Waterloo, isn't it? And this Platform 2 is one of the terminus platforms. Oh right, yeah, yeah. Just a point, by the way. The first run. Let me just tell you, because the first one is from London Road Depot. It's 243-1, the 0707. That sounds nice. I hope you enjoy the bacon. Yeah, you certainly don't want it. You don't want it too burnt. Yeah, oh dear, no. Well, that's the trouble with TSW5, isn't it? When you go through a red there, it's end of game. So were you were you near Journey's End, or was it near the start? Yeah, vaguely remember. I'd forgotten about John Shuttleworth. Yeah, it is Tracer World 5 time now. Oof. I'd forgotten. I can't remember. It's years and years and years ago since I've seen any of his stuff, but it's very good. Can I ask Leo, are you able to see some of it, are you? Obviously, it's up to you, you know, what you say, and whether you want to say really, I guess. No, something strange has happened there because the game's loading up, but I've still got my screen up there. Wait a minute. We're going to have to minimise that, aren't we? Yeah, there we go. Yeah, it's not quite on the script now. We've got a Bakerloo Line train now we're doing tonight. We haven't got a 350 scheduled. We've got a couple of Bakerloo Line services, and then we're doing a 66 on the East Coast Mainline. Ah, I see. Yeah. Excellent. Well, I hope you can enjoy it. But yeah, I'm glad you're watching. Where are we then? So we want Bakerloo Line. So I'm going to use the West Coast Main Line one because you get better sparks from it. No, absolutely, yeah. No, that's funny. I've just thought, actually, let me just turn the sound down very slightly. Let me know, by the way, if it's a bit too loud. And we're doing, what did I say now? I think it was the 0707. That's the one, yeah. London Road Depot to Queen's Park. Absolutely, yeah, yes. I think that the new videos helped as well. It seems to have been quite popular, which is always pleasing. So I thought we'd do a run from London Road today, because it's not that often. You would never see this in real life as a passenger, so I think it's fantastic that they've got this in there. So let's get the train set up. Get a bit closer to this actually. I like to get this cutout thing because I like to just get a bit of extra sound as well with the window opening. Unless you do that, you won't get it to move. So we're operating a Queen's Park service. What I often forget to do is this thing here with the to put the saloon lights on, which would be rather a shame because you wouldn't hear a thing if you were, or you wouldn't be able to see a thing if you were in the carriage. Yeah, it would, and I'm kind of working round it a little bit because I mean we're going to take this service to Queen's Park, and it kind of doesn't matter for this section, you know, going through the tunnels. But once we get to Queen's Park, I'm going to switch and do a service on West Coast Mainline South, Queen's Park to Harrow and Wealdstone, and then at least we will get the benefit then of the proper AI traffic. And again, it's a few weeks since I've driven this on the stream, but yeah, we've got a green ahead of us. Yeah, it's kind of what happens is we rejoin the tunnel just after Lambeth North, I think it is. So we miss out Elephant and Castle, and then we go straight into service at Waterloo. And there's kind of more than one depot on the Bakerloo line. You've got the one here, you've got one at Stonebridge Park, and you've got a little bit of a depot going on at Queen's Park as well. Yes, indeed. Yeah. Yes, good luck to you too, Amazed Taze. Yeah, I must confess I'm a bit lazy with that. I don't tend to bother with the back destination board. You've got the headlights on. Very, very slow to begin with, 5 miles an hour. So I'll soon get that 10. Of course, we are going quite sharply downhill as well. Yeah, it's a good question, Leo. What is your favourite route? Love all the creaks and noises. Still going quite sharply downhill, and then oh right, okay. Well, that's no fault of yours. Yeah, I love how the sparks come up now. I like it. Yeah, it's amazing how different the tunnels feel actually now with this mod installed. I'm glad I've got it in. Yeah, it'd be Victoria, wouldn't it? It's a brilliant route actually, and I mean that East Croydon to Watford Junction that I did yesterday, that partly involves the London Brighton line. We're about on time as well, which is not like me. But I mean, when it came out, I mean, it's a few years ago now, but they called that London Commuter, and the level of detail then was just mind-blowing. The amount of trains and coming out of Victoria, it doesn't matter whether it's rush hour, what time of the day it is, absolutely fantastic. And I have to say, in terms of the running of the route, it works a lot better than the West Coast Mainline south from Euston does. I think there's something about the Euston model that seems to cause a few problems. So embankment next, so we're literally going under the Thames as we speak. I'm sure I'll be late by the time we get to the other end. Looking busy this time of the morning. When this route came first out as well, absolutely blown away by the level of details at the stations. A little view. A little bit of dodgy walking going on, but yeah, I think most of them are getting on anyway. Let me know if it does sound a little bit too noisy or even too quiet. It sounds dead noisy coming through the headset, but that's not always a certainty. see any services that run from London Road Depot straight through to Harrow Wealdstone. They all seem to terminate at Queen's Park. Yeah, I suppose it probably does. I suppose it does. I think the key thing is sometimes it all seems very, very quick. I mean, when you've got the announcements going in real life, I've very much heard the train actually leaving the station before the announcements even finished. I mean, I think the idea is it won't move until the doors are shut. Bye, Noah. Thanks for watching. We will do a 390 service at some point. I'm hoping with the 500 subscriber special, we're going to do a full run from London Euston through to Glasgow Central. That's the plan. I've got a little idea for the introduction. I'm hoping if the weather's pretty decent at the weekend, I can get out and record it. Yeah, I know what you mean. Like I said, I don't think power it won't move, will it, until the doors are shut. But I suppose I can't imagine it'd be very good on the motors, though. Kind of constantly trying to slam it into full power, as it were. I mean, you can do it there, can't you? Just before it finishes loading passengers. Yeah, I love the Met Line. And I love the fact that with Just Train's creation of it, I love how... That's interesting. That changed the yellow there, didn't it? We're going to have to keep an eye out on these signals. I love on the Met Line how we've got the whole of the branch from Aldgate all the way through to all the various branches. So Amersham, Cheshunt. Do you know, I always get mixed up whether it's Chesham or Cheshunt, Watford. It's kind of a really full representation of it. It's fabulous add-on. I mean, those approach control signals are quite... Ah, you've answered me question there. Yeah, I can never remember whether it's Cheshunt or it's Chesham, isn't it? Yeah. You can, yeah, you can. You can do a full run all the way. Even stopping at my favourite station name on the entire route, which is Chalfonton Latimer. Sounds quite posh and expensive. I mean, it's quite a while since I've done a Met Line run. I must put that in at some point quite soon. I mean, nowadays on the Met Line in real life, through the tunnels, you've got the ATO, the automatic train operation, so all the driver has to do is open and shut the doors, but they've modelled it at a period just before that, so you've got all sorts of shenanigans going on with coming into Baker Street. Yeah, very much so. Yeah, I did actually. I don't know if it was last summer, but I did actually make the journey to. Did I make it to Chesham? I can't remember actually. I certainly went to Amersham. I think I went to Chesham. You know, I'm doubting myself now. The thing about that part of the Met Line as well is it goes. The speed limit kind of feels almost like normal trains. Good question. I haven't got a clue. If you wanted to try and sound a bit French, you'd be saying Thaden Bois. But, or is it Thaden Boys? Which line is that on, Christopher? Love all the artwork and decor as well that's gone on with these stations as well. They've built the routes fantastically. Right. Shows I've probably never... I haven't been on the Central Line all that much. I bet actually when because kind of the tube is one of your favourite things train wise, I bet you're absolutely delighted when this came out for Trains in World 2. Loving that fact. Remember, yeah, driving it from Chesham towards Chalfont and Latimer. There's quite a gradient, isn't there? And I think back in the day there used to be a shuttle service between the two stations. Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, I mean, I'd love there to be more of the tube built for Train Sim World, and I'd love to find that Just Trains have made a decision for the next route to move away from British Rail Blue and build the Met Line for Train Sim World, but we'll have to wait and see. Yes, absolutely. I remember when Matt Pendleton did the first, not Matt Pendleton, it would have been Tom, when Tom did the first stream of it for Just Trains. That was kind of the part of the route that he showed off first, and you could kind of see there's like a garden, isn't there, by the side of the platform, and he kind of thought, wow, the level of detail is incredible. Sorry, I'm trying to read the chat and drive at the same time. Some fascinating insight. Love your knowledge. See, this is always my excuse for the poor driving. I'm trying to read the chat and drive at the same time. And Mace Tays would say, well, but I've got to hear the noise of the train going on whilst I'm driving it and hearing two trains. I'd love to have gone on one of those steam trains when you've seen them going through the tunnels on the Met Line. Yeah, I was a bit slow there, certainly getting away. I just wish the Chiltern line's route from Marylebone was better. I mean, it's a very, very old route now from Just Trains. Of course, you can take the full run to Aylesbury, but there's 1,000,001 trees on that route. Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, very much so. There's some great history. I mean, that's partly why the Jeff Marshall videos are so good, and the Jago Hazard ones as well. If you've ever watched Jago Hazard's, or you've not watched Jago Hazard's videos, Christopher, he's done some great stuff on the underground, and very, very knowledgeable, and really, really good listen as well. He covers all the history with some really good camera shots, and he's just got an amazing voice as well. It's he manages to sound slightly ironic, but very, very listenable. I have, yes, yeah, I've done it a few times. I quite like those 345s. And it's amazing how it's kind of gone from being not there to being very, very popular indeed. Yeah, there's one I spotted earlier on. I've not watched it yet, but a video about why people always have to stand on the right going up on escalators. Yeah, I must watch that. If I ever get round to doing these things, I'd like to get out and record a few more and do a few bits and pieces. Let's see if we can make a bit of a video. Right. Yeah, it's kind of seems very archaic now not to have any loos at all on services. I mean, I remember some of the first generation EMUs, like the 304s, didn't have toilets, for example. Didn't even have connected carriages. But you kind of think in 2025 that it should be a prerequisite. I know my brother always says that the problem about modern trains is they just don't make the seats comfortable anymore. It's like the older trains, the ones that were built in the 90s, the 80s, whenever it was, just aren't comfortable at all. I'm looking forward to that coffee when it arrives anyway. I've probably made this point before as well, but it'd be lovely to be able to walk out at these stations on the Bakerloo Line and actually see London up above us. Crikey, I mean, what you're supposed to do if you're in a state of desperation? I suppose the lesson there is, if certainly if you've had a pint, whatever you do, go to the toilet before. Yeah, I did message him last week actually, but he did say, well, actually didn't see the message until after he brought it in. He'd already got it in preparation, but I think he's a bit busy tonight. I mean, in real life, they always seem to drive these things. They seem to come hurtling into the platform and then they just stop on the sixpence. Right, so Kilburn Park, and then we'll be out into the open at Queen's Park. I think in real life as well, there's sort of restrictions on the amount of time you could spend in the tunnels as well. I don't think you could have a day where you were constantly going up and down from Elephant to Queen's Park. Glad to see it looking so busy though. I mean, that was one of the criticisms when it first came out, that it just didn't feel that busy. It's just out of interest. No, I didn't mean to do that. No, it was E I meant to do. I'm just going to have a quick look and see. Yeah, we're pretty loaded. It certainly does. I was making that comment earlier on. You know, it's the quickest 4 hours of the week, really. I mean, you think it's basically a half a working day, but those 4 hours when I'm at work go a damn sight slower than they do when I'm doing this. This is kind of why I'm so jealous, really, of real drivers, because apart from the fact they get paid a heck of a lot of money, but I somehow just don't think they'd ever tire of it. Oh, definitely right, yeah. I mean, I'm kind of, you know, I've been thinking in a way, well, why did it take me so long to actually create a YouTube channel and start doing this streaming? But I'm really glad I did. I think this is the bonus, though, the chat. Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? I guess there's some. I think there's a lot that it's very much a passion thing. But I guess not everybody loves it. I mean, we've got that Dad Rail chap on the stream, and he's a Class 66 freight driver, and I think he has driven passenger trains in the past, and he seems to absolutely love it. But I guess there's always going to be some. Now, I always get slightly confused with these signals. I think because we're almost into tram mode, aren't we? I think if it was across, then we couldn't go, but I think we're all right. Soon now, anyway. Yeah, we're all right. Yeah, well, this is it, and I guess it's the same with anything. I kind of love my job and hate my job in equal measure sometimes. I love how you could drive this into the depot. So we started at the depot and then we're ending it in the depot. Oh, I know. Yeah, I've been waiting for the reality TV drama, actually. The Broker. this week, Kevin's boss has a moan about such. I think people would think, what a boring idea that sounds, but I think they'd be surprised sometimes. I'm just amazed. It always just shows what a small world it is, doesn't it? But I'm amazed that one of my big fans is has involvement with insurance. Now, I'm guessing Mace Taser is going to be a few minutes behind. All right, excellent. Yeah, I like it. So I've written down the score anyway. So it's 16,943. So I've never really bothered looking at some of this stuff, but obviously it's giving us the breakdown of the stop accuracy, and obviously it's measuring that, and the time as well. We've driven 6.8 miles. Oh, okay, yeah, so you're not too far behind then. I'll perhaps just hang on for a minute then. Well, you've got to be over a certain age to remember that. I mean, I certainly can. The Bruce Forsyth and the Generation Game. Can't quite do his accent. That was must watch, wasn't it, in the 70s, the Generation Game, and then Larry Grayson taking over. I'm quite convinced, you know, we talked about quiz shows before, but I think looking back, I'm sure I spent my entire childhood watching quiz shows on the telly. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And remember all those times of the it always seemed as though there was a Potter's Wheel thing going on every week. Yeah, it's amazing some of the things that you can do. And I mean, I've not really got into much about kind of detaching, uncoupling locos and coupling them back up again. Right, so we'll... Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the thing was, I don't know whether I've made this point before, probably have, but it was kind of like Bruce Forsyth was the master of the Generation Game, and it was like, how could Larry Grayson better it? And it was completely different. He always looked as though he didn't know too much about what was going on, but he was absolutely brilliant to watch, and seemed to be a really nice, kind-hearted person as well. Oh, well done. Yeah, fantastic. Well done indeed. Yeah, no, that's good. That's brilliant. Well done. Yeah, quite close, but I mean, actually, we're definitely going to have a winner now. I suppose the ideal would be if I was to equalise, and then we've got the freight run to come yet. But we haven't quite devised a penalty shootout just yet. Yeah, I bet that's a brilliant read. I remember watching that documentary the other Christmas about him, and there's a few bits from the diary, and they had somebody kind of reading them in his voice, and I think somehow just reading it, you would want to read it in his voice. You can kind of just imagine it. So we're jumping on to West Coast Mainline South now. So it's another Bakerloo Line service. Just make sure I've got the number correctly. So this is 207-02 Queen's Park 2 Harrow Wealdstone 0746. Ah, marvellous. I did see a bit of a post from him the other day, but I can't remember. Oh yeah, you'll enjoy that, Christopher. Oh, I'm exactly the same. I've read loads of books on Brian Clough. I've read he's written two autobiographies. So both are brilliant to read. I've read. There's a biography by Pat Murphy, who's a local journalist based in the East Midlands. There's one by that Tony Francis, who used to be on Central. And there's another one who was a kind of a local Nottingham journalist. I can't remember his name, but they all provide different perspectives, but equally just as fascinating. Where are we now? I can't find my service now. What did I say? 0746. What's that? There we go. I must get round to watching or re-watching the Damn United as well. Well, I heard a movement in the background. I was just getting a message from my brother, actually, but yeah, I think everybody's been queuing up to write about him, but they're all good. Oh, I never did do that back destination blind. So where are we going to? Harrow Wealdstone, aren't we, this time? Oh, they are absolutely brilliant. I think Mark Crossley is one. Yes, yeah, I've heard that one. Yeah. I do like listening to Stuart Pearce as well. I mean, he was a great player and it seemed like a nice character. But on the football pitch, of course, he was, he was quite hard, but always came across well. Well, I think I did mean to change the time of the day to summertime, but never mind. Yeah, absolutely. I read a great story as well. It might have been Mark Crossley, but about a car, and he was trying to negotiate a new deal, and he said, "Oh, I fancy such and such a car." So Brian said, "Right, okay, yeah, we'll sort that out for you." And then he got the car, and he was saying, "Oh, that's strange. Why are the documents in the name of Clough?" And it turned out, I think it was his daughters or something. It was like basically he'd given him her car, and then he says, "So here I am. I basically take the car off him, and I'm the one paying for it." Yeah, that's what I meant to put it as, to be honest, Amaze Days. Yeah, it always looks slightly depressing when you're doing a February day, even in the sunshine. Right, so Kensal Green is our first stop. No, it won't. I think there is a mod actually on Train Sim. It's disabled. I think there is a... I've just thought actually. I've got me this on, haven't I? Where are we? Autumn tree. I don't. Is that local? Don't think you can change the time, can you? Anyway, I'm not going to worry about it too much. Yeah, I'm sure there's a mod where you can open that front door. I mean, I could be wrong, but I've got a suspicion that it was TfL that basically insisted on that that was actually locked and out of circulation. Yeah, I'm sure there is a mod where you can undo it. Yeah, that's definitely true. There we go, we're losing points for that. Not slowing down quickly enough for the 30. I got a 08 shunter waiting there. I suppose one thing that would be perfectly possible is once this Malmay line comes out, you could kind of get the idea here of taking a service, whether it's Overground or the Bakerloo, as far as Willesden Junction, and then you could walk up to the platform and then join the Malmay line. Yes. You can hear it but not see it. I love the last bit where we're kind of, particularly after Wembley Central, when we're going right alongside the West Coast Mainline. Yeah, there is Christopher. Yeah, I mean, I won't say with every route, but most of the routes have kind of got a mod going. Just little pieces of realism like that that just add something to it. This is actually using the full enhancement pack. This is on the West Coast Mainline South route, so we've got real posters. I think we've got posters for that Taylor Swift concert, although it's been out of date now because it was from last summer, but we've got this all this graffiti going on as well. Oh dear. Stop! No, I agree with you. I was too busy reading the message then. But yeah, it's fascinating. Might improve the timekeeping anyway by doing that. I think after that stop, there's only one answer to that. Agreed. So I've got the game going on the big telly, and then the chat going on the right side. So the secret is to kind of have a look at it, but don't do it when you're approaching a station. Yes, of course. I'd forgotten that one, yeah. Again, you know, thinking back to old childhood quiz shows, I was watching a couple of the old Bob Monkhouse family fortunes as well that are on YouTube. And also the Max Bygraves ones, and I always thought at the time that Max Bygraves just wasn't very good at it. I mean, Bob Monkhouse was the absolute master. I thought Les Dennis was decent as well. Yeah, so this comment's been made by a few people, but it's like, who were these 100 people? You know, have you ever had a phone call saying, hello, I'm from Family Fortunes. We've asked 100 people. I mean, presumably, you know, the assumption would be most likely it was the actual audience, I'm guessing. Yeah, you kind of felt, I don't know, it just seemed as though he was staging it, as though he wasn't really massively into it, wasn't massively enjoying it. Oh my word, yeah. You just couldn't imagine it, could you? He would not have been good, I don't think. The other thing as well is, if I do a video where I'm putting up both my run and a Maze Taze alongside me, then I'll have to be totally frank and declare, this was my first go at it. I didn't think, right, that was rubbish, let's have another go at it. Right. Yeah, I remember you mentioned him before, actually. Yeah. You think all those passengers that were waiting around central London, it's quieting down as we come into Wembley Central. Yeah, well, absolutely, but you know, it's the thing is, I have had 5 months practice at it now. I'm convinced though that the actual driving's actually got worse over time rather than better. It does amaze me actually when you watch. I've watched videos where the driver's like talking sort of thing, and he seems to totally be able to switch off from the two things, be talking and actually, but his brain's telling him exactly where the speed limit's coming up and all that sort of stuff at the same time. I'm blaming it on the lack of coffee. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I've just sent him a message. Great minds and all that thinking alike at the same time. Yeah, you can mess about with this to a certain extent, so kind of make it more cloudy, but I don't think you can. Oh, you can. Oh, okay. Oh wait. There we go. Better late than never. Well, now I want it sunnier now. Hang on. There we are. By the wonders of modern television. Or modern technology, I should say. Amazing how different it looks though. Right, so coming into South Kenton. Yeah, that's a certainty. In all honesty, I'll settle for a place in the Championship next season. I mean, the problem is I've lost count of the amount of managers we've had over the last few years, and it's all ended up with us kind of struggling this time of the year. We just about stayed in the Championship. The one thing we don't want to do is to slip down to that League One, because it might then be damn difficult to get out of again. He must have a few doubts himself at the moment as to whether he can actually ever be successful as a manager.
Smoking is not permitted on any part of the station.
Yeah, it's good to see them win. Must have been, I was looking at the fixtures the start of the weekend, and when was the last time Spurs played at 3 o'clock on a Saturday? Feels as though every single week it's a televised game. I mean, I know down the years Spurs, Manchester United's always been on the telly, and it's often been a pretty classic game. But yeah, I certainly hope they move up the table a little bit. I did briefly hear Peter Drury saying, for all the woes of both sides, it's still possible that it could end up being the Europa League final, Spurs against Manchester United. Now, I can tell by that map thing up in the corner that although that was a yellow signal, the signal is after the platform, so we should be all right. Yeah, he seems to be. I mean, I think we said before, haven't we? The some managers just seem to be kind of perfect at certain clubs. You know, take Tony Pulis at Stoke, and there's just some places that just seem to fit naturally. I think Gareth Ainsworth is one of those. That, you know, he obviously did a great spell with Wickham, and then he's well, say settled in well with Shrewsbury, but I know they're struggling. There we go, all looks very sunny now. Right, so there we go. So, yeah, so we're about same position, aren't we? So, I mean, I've got to have masses of points. I didn't actually. I have seen him before being interviewed, and yeah, he does seem a good bloke. Ah, excellent. Right, okay, we'll find out mine in a second. I mean, there's got to be loads of points knocked off for that very poor stop that I made wherever it was. I think we find his mishap so far on this stream. There was one a few months back where I managed to, because I was kind of clicking on the stream and not the game, I actually bounced into the buffer stops. Might have been Milton Keynes, or yeah, I think it was Milton Keynes or Tring. Oh, there you go. Yeah, 2-0. Yeah, well, there you are. Yeah, 6-2-8-1. Oh, right, we've got the score breakdown. So speeding 130. On time stops 327. Yeah, it's freight on the East Coast Mainline. So this is 4 Echo 26. Let's yeah, so well done. I mean, this is almost a consolation prize, really, if I can win this one. That's all right. I think that overstop where I came flying into the station did me there. That was for certain. But well done. We're to keep track of the tally, really. I know it's all, the chat's all recorded, isn't it? So should be able to look back and have a look. That's right. Yeah. Bit like the old thing about the boat race, isn't it? It's you know, why is it always the same two teams in the final? Right, so East Coast Mainline, Class 66. I was going to do it with the GBRF ones, but I don't know why, but they don't seem to work for me. Because I've tried it earlier on and it completely failed to load up. Yeah, part 2, yeah, that's exactly right. So I'll remember to change the weather this time. Make it nice and sunny. So, yeah, so part 2 to Dollans Moor to Scunthorpe, Redbourne siding's working, and we're going to drive it from Newarth Moorgate to Doncaster, although I think when I loaded it up earlier on, just to have a look at it, I think we're in the loop. Ah, excellent. I haven't got that downloaded actually. Does that make you think of Matt Pedalston? Very good. There we go. So I'm in the green 66. Let's get things set up. Day running. And the instrument lights on. So, yeah, we definitely got a red at the moment. Very good. Hope the wind are a bit. It always seems a bit quiet in the cab. Right, we've got green. Those brakes off. I think I put July this one. Yeah, it does makes a difference. I think it is nice to see the game at its best, really. Trying to desperately not to go into the red zone. Very good. Actually, did we ever put the AWS on? There we go. I don't know anything about this run, or whether there'll be any adverse signals, or whether we'll be held in any loops or not. I did have a look on that awesome... Oh, there we go. Driven 66 miles. What's the DVD on this? I can't remember the button on that. Hang on. Right, that's it, I think, yeah. I think that must be just north of Newark Northgate. Or is it just south? I think I'm right in saying this is this the A46, I think, that goes over? It's quite a lot louder, the 66, so I don't know if it's a bit too loud for the stream. So we're about, where are we, about, it's only just over half an hour, I think, all told. I think about 40 minutes by the time you've added in the bit at the start. Oh, excellent, that'll be good. Yeah, I'm sure I've got the Lumo installed anyway. I haven't done a IET or an Azuma on the stream just yet on the East Coast Mainline. I've not said it for quite a while now, but thanks again to everybody watching tonight. Once again, always tremendously pleased to see new and existing viewers and new and existing subscribers. And if you do feel like subscribing and you give it some consideration, I'd be greatly appreciated. I know that if I eventually do, at some point I've got to give this Flying Scotsman a run on either on a live stream or a recording, but it kind of makes a lot of sense to do it on the East Coast Main Line, because of course coming down Stoke Bank, that's exactly where Mallard achieved its world steam record all those years ago. I think I've officially given up on the coffee anyway. I think my brother's either fallen asleep or he's not seen his phone. Yeah, very much so. Yeah, really enjoy it. Yeah, really good part of the stream and tremendous idea. And yeah, must have a look about like you say, maybe Dropbox. I'll have to have a look at, I don't know what size typical videos are, and I should know from some of the recorded ones I've had, so I think that would work really well. And then I could do the side by side on Adobe Premiere, and then kind of do a commentary on the resulting efforts. And as I say, you'd have to take my word for it that it was kind of like my first go at it. Yeah, that'd be great fun. I mean, it's such a different experience driving one of these freight services compared with, you know, it's chalk and cheese, isn't it, compared with you just done a Bakerloo Line train where you're stopping every couple of miles. Yeah, I think so. Although I think it's suggesting. I think we might have one or two watching that are not on the chat as well. I think it ranks as 7 at the moment. Which is really decent. Yeah, there's 7 at the moment. We've peaked at 11 a couple of times. We've had 10. Very often it's been 8, 9 and 10. Yeah, definitely. I think it's a good route for freight, isn't it? The Midland Main Line. Very underrated route in many ways. Do you know, I never noticed. I saw something come past me, but I was too busy looking at the chat. It's a kind of a cheap alternative, so you know, sort of think EasyJet. So they're one of these open access things, so they're able to run certain selected services. I think it goes something like non-stop from King's Cross to, I can't remember if it's York or Newcastle, but it doesn't stop at any of the intermediate places. So, you know, it's a bit like, you know, you sort of your EasyJet or your Ryanair, I suppose. You don't get first class, but they are similar trains. They're exactly the same trains that operate the LNER ones, essentially. They're Hitachi IETs anyway. I mean, we were at one point going to get Grand Central on the West Coast Main Line, and they were preparing just before COVID to do a service from, I always forget to take the brakes off properly. They were going to do a service from Blackpool to Euston with the Class 90 and the Mark 4s, but COVID got in the way, unfortunately, so it never quite materialised. No, yeah, I mean, it's something I would like to try and do at some point as well. Yeah, I think there was a direct train from Virgin, wasn't there, Shrewsbury to London Euston. So I presume Avanti dropped it. I don't know if they ran it for a while. Yeah, there was a video when it was done in the Virgin days. There was a programme made by the BBC with, well, I've forgotten his name now, that chap who was on The Apprentice and used to do Countdown. What was his name? I think he did a bit of a thing on trains with that Margaret Mountford, if you can remember. You remember her? They were a good combination. And I think what he did is he was offered by Virgin for the purposes of the programme like a first class experience from Euston to Shrewsbury, which he took advantage of. And I think they travelled together, and then I think what he basically said is, look, I also want to do it just standard class as well, just do it an ordinary, not a sort of a Virgin special, and compare the two. Yes, I can remember them. Retford, isn't it? Yeah, I kind of hope we do get held in a loop somewhere, because you kind of feel as though that's what would happen with a real life freight journey. Love the rattle of the sound of the old wagons. Yeah, I'm not sure when the direct Shrewsbury to Euston service got curtailed. And I know, you know, there's 1,000,001 trains that go to Euston from Birmingham New Street, but it's just kind of that privilege, isn't it, having a direct train to take you straight through to London. Yeah, I think you've got to be right though, time-wise, haven't you? Because you kind of think, well, we've got about 22 minutes left on the journey, and it seems a bit of a, surely at kind of 70 odd miles an hour we'd get there before 15:02. So I imagine there'd be a bit of a wait. Don't know if it gives us any clues, does it? mean, in a way, I'm quite glad that it's not one of those on the Awesome Train services forum, because it's kind of like pick and mix. You don't know what you're going to get. It feels a bit more like it would be in real life. Most of the, I think there was only a couple of freight ones anyway for the East Coast Main Line. I think they were mainly set at night. Yeah, absolutely, Christopher, and I think it's a damn shame, isn't it? And I think we've talked about it a little bit before, but I do feel as though Avanti have got their pricing structure all wrong. It's like so expensive, unbelievably expensive. I mean, actually, Wolverhampton to Euston is one of the few journeys that you can get fairly reasonable rate at first class. Actually, it's a lot better than trying to get from Stoke to, a couple of times. Last year I actually went to Stoke to Euston, but I went to Wolverhampton on an LNWR and then got a first class from Wolverhampton. So I got a reasonable rate for that. Oh, excellent. There you go, you see, all in the inadvertent planning. Yeah. Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're now probably be more lucky to get round about that as a single. And I'm probably repeating myself, but which I'm sure I do quite a lot of these streams. But you know, back in the Virgin day, if you're going in the day, you might not get a full meal, but you'd get you could get your nice wine or beer for free, and you know, you could have 2 or 3 glasses. You get a sandwich, you get some crisps, chocolate, odds and ends, and it was all a lot more cost effective. And I think, as I recall, I think LNER, as it goes, I mean, we're on the East Coast Main Line now, I think some of their fares are not too bad. Sort of, I've done Leeds to King's Cross a couple of times. Oh, marvellous. I think, you know, you're back to kind of the argument about nationalisation and you know, state owned. But very much the philosophy, you know, started with the 80s really, is that railways have got to pay for themselves, and you know, it's obviously possible on some of the longer distance routes, but not necessarily on other routes, and that's kind of the way of life. Yeah, absolutely, and there are deals. I think there is actually, to be fair to Avanti, there is a sale site as well. Can't remember what it's called, but you can, you know, as long as you can have a look at Advance, you can get some decent fares. Yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, I know what you mean. Certainly, I think, you know, a lot of the people who look back to British Rail look a little bit with rose-tinted spectacles. But I'm kind of just making the comparison really because, like you say, with I think Spain is state-owned, aren't they? And you know, Germany, you've got the Deutsche Bahn, and it can be made to work in some countries. Yes. I can remember them, the old-fashioned handsets. Yeah, it's stupid, isn't it? Absolutely crazy. Crazy. I was getting worried then. I thought the game was getting dumped on me. Right, excellent. So I tell you what then, I bet you were delighted when Ebbsfleet was put in on Trade Sim World. Yes. Well, that takes me back to 1998. That does, with being in France for the World Cup, and we went for a mate. We went camping for the fortnight, and we did that by train as well. We had one of those Interrail tickets, and that was tremendous value as well. Ah, excellent, Christopher. Yeah. Did you you manage to get tickets for any of the games? It's kind of got a bit harder over the years. It's like, I mean, I went to Brazil in 2014 and Japan in 2002, and it was easier. Was easier to get tickets when it's a little bit farther afield. I found it a bit more difficult. I mean, I managed to get some tickets in '98. Right, this is the adverse signals that we're anticipating anyway. Ah, brilliant. Yeah, sounds good. Yeah, in '98 managed to. I was in the England members club, but I'd only just joined, so we were kind of surprised that they managed to get us any tickets at all. We were kind of delighted about that. So we got tickets for England against Tunisia, the opening match. So we saw Shearer and Alan Shearer, Paul Scholes. Do you know, I should remember, but I think it was Alan Shearer, Paul Scholes. That was the only England match we saw, but we saw a few other ones as well. Managed to see Brazil against Morocco in Nantes. We watched South Africa against Denmark in Toulouse, I think it was. Yeah, that was an incredible fortnight, and it was kind of brilliant from a train's point of view, as well as actually being there for the World Cup as well. And there's such a clean and tidy country as well, and the trains, everything operates. You don't get trains running 10 minutes late. And I've kind of lived out the dream of seeing Mount Fuji on the Osaka train on the Shinkansen. The only thing that annoyed me at the time was I saw all 3 England group games, and okay, very memorable watching England beat Argentina in Sapporo, but I saw 2 England goals in the 3 England group games, and came back home, and of course what did they then do? They scored 3 goals in the second round against Denmark. But yeah, I take it you both enjoyed your journeys on the trains. I mean, I thought Shinkansen was amazing, but I enjoyed all the local services as well. And I was kind of quite taken with the fact, because years ago I used to play on a game on the PlayStation called Denture to Go, and it had got, I think it's called the Yamanote line, so it was kind of fascinating to see it in real life. I aren't now, I haven't been for absolute years now, and you know, there was a time I went through a phase between sort of 96 and I don't know, 2004 I suppose, where saw virtually every England, every home match anyway, live. So sort of went Euro 96, France 98, just one match for Euro 2000, then World Cup 02, Portugal 04. We did go to Germany in 06, but we couldn't get any tickets that time. It kind of tailed off a bit after that, and then I went to Brazil in 2014. Yeah, I still enjoy it, and I mean, it's not quite the same. You know, I'm not so bothered about the qualifiers these days. I mean, there was a time when I'd be kind of knowing all about it, you know, days before it even happened, you know, and I'd be really into it, but tend to only be so bothered about the tournaments now. I mean, I did dare to dream last year that we might just finally do it. You know, you think all those years of trying to win something since the '66 World Cup, and we so very, very nearly did it. And you know, we couldn't argue on the day, could we? Because Spain were the better side. Right, that's the summer series, is it? I kind of lost count. Mind you, no, we're playing India away, aren't we? And we've got that ICC Champions Trophy thing coming back, haven't we? Starting next week, I think. I'll tell you what, that talking of cricket, that 2019 World Cup final. What an amazing day that was. I could watch that over and over again because it was just so exciting, and there was a point where you thought, we're not going to do it, we really are not going to do it, and then we snatched victory at the very end. Yeah, they're always interesting series, aren't they, against India. I'm just trying to make sure I don't fall foul of... I think there is a red signal ahead. Certainly know you're driving a freight train at slow speed. Oh yes, of course, yeah. Although it's probably, thankfully, that's on in the middle of the night, because I mean every time we play Australia at home they're amazing matches, but the away ones, they tend to just trounce us, don't they, every time. We just don't seem to have any concept of playing away in Australia. Wow. And was it basically full, was it? Right, after all that we got a double yellow, so interesting to read about this ICC Champions Trophy thing coming up, where I think basically it is just supposed to be in Pakistan, isn't it? But India kind of refused to play in Pakistan because of all the historical troubles, so they've kind of contrived to make Dubai as joint host as well. Yeah, that's something I've noticed. It really is a shame, and you know, I've never been to the Caribbean anyway, but I've never watched. I've been to Test matches at home and one day internationals at home, but I've never been away. But yeah, even watching on the TV, it's just a shame, because West Indies used to be such magnificent opponents, and you know, you think of some of the old greats, you know, Viv Richards, and well, you know, even more recently, but some of the old brigade from the 70s were amazing. I mean, we used to, in a way, kind of hate playing them, because again, they completely outfought us every time. They were very, very intimidating to play against. Marvellous, Christopher. Yeah, that sounds absolutely fantastic. Ah, brilliant. I've not, to be honest. No, but that's interesting. Yeah, I do. I just remember that period so well. Such great characters. It's a shame how it's kind of disintegrated. You know, they've gone from being world beaters into, you know, quite frankly, not being very good on the international stage. Right, there we go then. Yeah, I think you're right. I think you're right. Yes, yeah, I can imagine that. Yeah, I do like the old Caribbean mentality though, because they're just so chilled out, aren't they? And you know, I know, like anywhere, there's issues, I suppose, but they just generally seem quite relaxed and yeah, I'd imagine that would be amazing. Yeah. Wait a moment, it says. I don't know what it's waiting for. Yeah, I'm a bit like that myself nowadays. I've kind of told friends with holidays that I'd sooner go on my own. Right, well, that's concluded the run. Are you... I take it you're about in the same position, are you, Maze Taze? Have you come to the end? Yeah, that would be amazing, wouldn't it? That Boxing Day test. Oh, you're on fire. There we go. Oh, I'll run you close, but 8-1-1-4. So it's a complete whitewash, 3-0. Well done. Well done. But yeah, that would be incredible. Yeah, to witness cricket at the MCG. Quite like to go to tennis as well in Australia. Australia would be very much on top of the list. Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, enjoy the games and well done. Well done. Well, that's just about it then. Thank you very much for keeping me company as ever, and enjoyed all the chat as ever. Thanks, Christopher, and as always in these streams, we have covered a wide range of subjects, haven't we? So that's always good. Thanks for everybody that's watched, and again, if you've not liked and subscribed to the channel before, then if you could do so, I would be tremendously grateful. Yeah, thank you very much. Great stream. Yeah, really enjoyed it, and we'll keep an eye on those subscribers, because as we head towards the 500, then the plan will be to do that full run from London Euston to Glasgow Central. And yeah, enjoy the week, both of you. See you next Sunday. I'll see if I can get a midweek video in. I've got to think about what to do, actually, so we'll have a think on that. But yeah, thank you very much again, and until next time, I'm Powerflower. Trains and planes, it's goodbye, and thank you.